Welcome back to Garage Prospecting. I know I've been out of pocket for a while. That included a trip to Spain to attend my daughter's wedding and a bout with COVID that I got on the way back. I'm still testing positive, but I haven't had any symptoms now for about 4 or 5 days. So we should be okay here in a bit. This is showing on, let me see, Friday night, the 23rd. I want you to remember that tomorrow night, Saturday night, the 24th at 7 p.m. Mountain Daylight Time, we're going to have a giveaway show, the one that we missed while I was traveling. This box is from our friend Silver Spike, who I follow on YouTube and Instagram. Suggest you do the same. His property, or where he prospects, is in Utah, and he's always got some interesting material. So he says to open this letter. Let's do that first. Get it off here. It's kind of taped on there. I suppose he means before we open the box. So let's see what we've got here. So this is the second shipment that we've got from him. So this is dated June 7th, and it reads, to Toby Eunice of Garage Prospecting from Sean V. Plant at Silver Spike Prospecting. Hello, Toby. Here is 318 grams of high-grade, heavily mineralized quartz from my personal mine near Grantsville, Utah. My mine is up in the mountains from White Rock Spring. I have been chasing the quartz vein there for several years now. I have recovered and refined lots of silver from this mine. I also have recovered quite a bit of copper and some gold. Sometimes I hit huge pockets of ore that is very heavily mineralized. Most of the time the quartz is quite barren and does not contain any precious metals. I hand-selected each piece for you to crush in your mighty mill. I hope that the pieces are not too large or too small. Enjoy processing this material. I'm looking forward to seeing that video. Please let me know when the video is coming out and copy and paste the URL in the comments section on the short video I created about the package going to you. Thank you so much from Sean. Thank you so much from Sean at Silver Spike Prospecting. Oops, got a phone number there. We don't want to. Okay. And he gave me a phone number and to contact him if I have any questions. So I may have to leave that out. All right. So here's the box. Like I said, it's not a lot of material, but he said he hand-selected it. He's got it taped pretty nicely shut so that we don't lose any material, I imagine. And protected it pretty well with tissue paper. I did a good job. Let's put it in here for now. Oh, in a plastic bag. I'm going to throw the envelope and the box away, but I'll keep the letter. So some of this material, he looks like he's already put through the cutter because it has some nice smooth surfaces on there. Oh, look at that little sparkle right there. But he's right, there's lots of mineralization, lots of sulfides, all the things that you'd expect to see if you were looking in quartz for gold. There's some iron rusting. That's a good sign too. Again, mineralization. There's some quartz on the back of this, very sparkly quartz there too. Well, I think what we ought to do is pick a couple of these pieces and take a look at them under the microscope. So there's a stringer right there. That'd be a good place to look. So let's take a couple of these pieces, and I think there's some pyrite already in the ground and some sulfides. It's black. We're going to have to make sure all of that gets into the mighty mill. So let's take this one and this one because it's nice and flat. You'll see a little bit of sparkle in there before. We'll throw that under the microscope just to see what that quartz looks like. All right. All right, let's look at this quartz first because it was pretty dang sparkly. I'm going to turn the overhead off and we'll just go with this. Let's see. And I got some yellowish, which implies iron staining, quartz in there. So there's some sulfides, the black material are the sulfides. Oh, there's some pyrite. So I don't know whether you see that thing sparkling. That's because I'm moving my hand back and forth in front of the side light. And so the light is reflecting on the side there. That would indicate it's pyrite. Let's see if we can get a closer look at it here. Right there, yeah. See that? So it's flashing, and it may even be copper. It's got kind of a copper tint to it. And the lights I use in here are LED lights, so they're very white. You wouldn't see that. And all I'm doing is using my hand to reflect the light onto it from that one side. So that's very metallic. Let's take a look at one of the flat cut pieces and see if we can look into those little tiny areas where you might see some metallics. Yeah, that's not gold, that's pyrite. A nice little chunk of it with some sulfides, because pyrite actually is a form of sulfide. Got a little vug right in there, little hole, and it's got some mineralization in it. There's that stringer that I was talking about, that quartz stringer, another vug. So a vug, a V-U-G-G, is a airspace, basically. That was created when a gas bubble got trapped. And it tends to be a home for mineralization. So some more of that quartz, that orangish quartz, that iron stained. More sulfides. So, I mean, the bottom line, he said he hand selected this material. Wow, look at that. Whoa, that is a lot of activity in there with minerals and quartz and sulfides and iron staining. And this is a very small specimen, or a window into that specimen that you're looking at, so there's a lot of activity. So I don't know. It's not a lot of material. So the question is whether it's enough material to have any gold in it at all, but we're going to find it. Now, what I've been thinking about is how I'm going to process it. So let's go back to the overhead. So the question is how to process this. So these will all fit into the Mighty Mill. The Mighty Mill has a 1-inch grizzly on it. So this stuff will all fit very comfortably in the Mighty Mill. And when it does, the Mighty Mill is going to powder it up. It's going to turn it into talc. And so then we have to decide, look at that edge right there, that little sparkly edge. Right there. So the question is, after we turn it into a powder, what's the best way to process it to see if we can get some gold out of it? And I think the conclusion I've come to is that the safest way is going to be the Miller table. Now, I've never run material like this before. I've never actually run material that I've crushed and then run it through, one of the operations, whether it's the sluice, the spiral, the blue bowl, or the Miller table. So I don't have any idea how it's going to behave. I could put it through the small sluice, but I think even that is going to be too much for the talcum powder kind of concentrate that we're going to find with this. So, oh, look at that piece right there. Yeah. See all of that right there? That's some of that quartz, the iron stained quartz. That looks like how much of it? Limonite. It's chipping right off there. Look at that vug right in there. That'd be a good place to hide some gold in there. Oops, a little speckle right there. Look at that. So, number one, I think we're going to go with the Miller table because I think the Miller table is the most likely to extract the material based on the fact that it's held in very fine talc. So that's the first thing. The second thing is there is no guarantee. He didn't guarantee that this had gold. He said he had hand-picked it, and I think he did a good job of hand-picking it, picking these rocks that had a lot of potential. But there's no guarantee. So we may find 1 flake, we may find 10 flakes, we may find no flakes at all. But I want to send it through the process. So let me do this. Let me set up the Mighty Mill and the vacuum, and then we'll get ready for the Mighty Mill run. And then after we do the Mighty Mill run, I'm going to take you through the Mighty Mill clean out because it's slightly different. All right? So stay with me. All right, let's show you what we got here. So there's the material we're going to crush. There's my headgear. There's the Mighty Mill. I put this bucket hanging from the Mighty Mill because the last time I ran it, I noticed there was some of the talcum powder, the flour, down on my floor down there. So this accomplishes 2 things. Number one, it captures that, plus eventually I have to empty this out, and I think it might be easier to empty it out into this bucket. We'll have to see. So then I have a hose that goes from the Mighty Mill, you can see right there, from the Mighty Mill's ejection port, down to this pickup right there. And then up here, this is a dust stopper. It's made by Home Depot, and it fits on top of a 5-gallon drum. So on top of that is a hose that leads to my shop vac. So what basically happens is the shop vac creates suction. It brings it through the dust stopper, which collects the material around and around, and it goes straight down instead of going into the dust stopper. This was actually designed to collect, what do you call it? Wood chips, wood things. I know there's a name for it, I can't think of it. But it has the same effect here, and the reason I had this at hand was because I use it to when I'm sorry guys, I have COVID. I can't remember words tonight. Sandblasting. So it works the same for sandblasting and wood cutting. I don't know, what do they call it? Sawdust. Okay, sawdust, sand-dusting. I mean. Sawdust, sandblasting, and now the talcum powder that comes out of the Mighty Mill, okay? So, sorry. I'm just not remembering words, okay? So I'm going to set up the camera so that we have a long shot kind of it here, and you can see what I'm doing. So give me a minute to get that done. All right, I have got my ear protection on. I'm on the wrong side of the camera right now, so I'm going to move it this way so I don't trip on it when I was coming back. I'm going to turn on the... All right, so let's see what I've got in the way of good news and bad news. That wasn't a very good shot. I forgot to move the camera back into place. Okay, good news is the Mighty Mill seemed to have done its job. As you can see, although I'm getting some of the silica dust right now, can you actually see that? There was no silica dust coming out because of the dust stopper and the shop vac. Also, while there is a little bit of material down in the bottom of this bucket that I suppose is leaking from in here, it is nowhere as much as I saw the last time we made a run like this. So I think I'm confident we can take this off. And so what I have to do next, there'll be some of the dust in here in the hose. There shouldn't be any in this hose, but the majority of the talc should be in there. Let's see if we can turn it just a little bit more. Can you see it? So it's a very fine talc. You can actually see some of the sulfides in there as well. They've separated themselves out. So I think what we'll do is all right. So I'm going to do this without kicking the tripod again. Sorry, usually I have the camera aimed where I'm working. This is a little bit different, and that's what I was trying not to do. Okay. So that's what all those rocks look like. Bad news is I stripped the bolt hole on the Warrior here. I don't think I stripped it. I think the vibration stripped it. And so that wasn't holding. So all I did was put this under here. So I'll have to replace that because that's what I get for spending $10, right? Okay, so I think, I don't know, man. I feel like we should run it over the Miller table. Shall we look at it under the microscope? Let's take a look under the microscope, see what we've got. Well, he said it was quartz. There's some pyrite right there. That is not gold. Gold isn't that shiny. It's got more of a flat look to it. But if there's quartz and there's pyrite, there might be some gold in there. Probably better if I took a small sample of this stuff. There's some sulfides, there's some iron staining. So everything that we expected to see is in the mashed up powder, talcum, whatever you want to call it. It's almost like sand, except smaller. There's some sulfides there. Either black sand or hematite. Lots of pyrite. Look at that. All of that's pyrite. I like the iron staining. There's some more black sand. Is that a little tiny garnet in there? Yeah, it looks like a garnet. So a lot of very cool material in here. So I'm trying to decide, does it make sense just to pan it out instead of run it through the miller table? I think the right answer is we run it through the miller table just to be sure. All right, let me get the miller table set up. Okay, so I've got the miller table set up. The pitch is about 4 degrees. I have the voltage at 9 volts. So I've got a nice little waterfall here at the end, nice and even. So this is the miller table is level from side to side. So I did add some water, and a lot of black stuff came out of it. I don't know if you can see that in the light. So I'm going to shut up, make the run, see what happens here, and see if we can collect any gold, all right? All right, guys. So I did not pull any gold out of that sample. There's a lot of shiny material in it. Let me turn off the pump. Lots of shiny material, but what I've learned is that the shiny material, if it starts bunny hopping down the gold will slide a little bit and then stop. The shiny material that bunny hops, it flips all the way down to the end, is one of the pyrites. So a lot of black material, as you saw, but I did not pull any gold out of that. I suppose what I should try to do is maybe pan out the tailings from here just to make sure. I'll do that separately, I think. And if I come up with anything, I'll show it to you. But if not, I think we're going to call this the end to this particular experiment. So, silver spike, I'm sorry if there was gold in there. I didn't get it. I thought we did a pretty good job of crushing it in the Mighty Mill. And I thought we did a pretty good run of running it down the miller table, but nothing stuck. A lot of bunny hopping. All right, guys, thanks for joining me.